This is a production of WKNO Memphis. Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies, Chris Wallace. When Chris Wallace joined the Memphis Grizzlies in 2007, he vowed to help the organization win an NBA title. The outgoing Wallace replaced a legend in Jerry West, who may just have the complete opposite personality as Wallace. Chris quickly became a fixture in the Memphis community and as well-liked a person as you'll ever meet. If Chris was asked to speak at a function, he spoke. If he was asked to be a participant in a barbecue tasting event, he ate. When called upon, Wallace was there, waving the Grizzlies flag high and proud. All this while wheeling and dealing from his office or his cell phone. Wallace was the GM, but still had to get final say from then-owner Michael Heisley, and the two didn't always agree. Today, Wallace is more in the background than in the forefront. He now answers to CEO Jason Levian and owner Robert Pera. Yet Wallace continues to make the rounds on radio, television, or anywhere he's asked to be. Today, Chris Wallace talks to me about the slow start to the season for the Grizzlies and about his career, which may ultimately take him away from the Bluff City. And oh, by the way, the statement he made 6 years ago about a championship doesn't seem so outlandish after all. Chris Wallace, next on Sports Files. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure, Greg. I love your new set. The AstroTurf looks going to catch on and be the rage around the world.
Right from the Astrodome before they implode it. A slow start for the team, no question about that. Some fans are jumping off the Hernando de Soto Bridge. They shouldn't. We don't recommend it. But why do you think fans are concerned with the slow start?
Well, I always try to put things in perspective. We've got 70-some more games in front of us on the 82-game regular season NBA schedule. Go back to some of the past years we've made the playoffs recently with the run we've been on. 2011, we didn't get over 500 until well into January. The lockout year, 2012, another year where we didn't get to 500 till quite some time during the season. So it's not where you start, it's where you finish in the NBA. And you know, I'm not overly concerned because I've seen this before, and there's ample time to be hitting on all 8 cylinders this year.
There's a new coach, there's a new offensive system, so you can almost understand if execution may be a problem early. But a lot of people, myself included, I watched all these games, and some of these games I look and I don't see the effort 48 minutes. Saturday night, this past Saturday night, we saw great effort in the win over Golden State. Then in Indiana, tough place to win at. Went back to the effort, maybe wasn't there as much as it needs to be. The Grizzlies are a great team, but if that effort's not there, they're not going to win a lot of games against good competition.
Well, there's an awful lot of newness right now. I mean, even though Dave Yeager has been with us the past 6 years, as the top assistant coach,
right,
and had a great deal to do with the defensive resurgence of this team and the excellence achieved on that in the court in recent years. He is a new head coach in the NBA. You got Mike Miller coming in as a new player that's in the rotation. Dave's trying to tweak things a little bit like any coach would and keep what's working but add a few things and see if he can alleviate some of the areas of shortcoming. So again, I think it's early on in the NBA. And we've got an awful lot of strengths to go to, not just in personnel, but the character and experience of this team. So I think we'll be fine before the season's all over with.
You've been around coaching changes before in your career, so
quite a few of them.
It does take some time.
It sounds easy that a guy, hey, this guy's been with you the whole time. He's been a head coach in the minor leagues, but when you move that 18 to 24 inches over to being a head coach from the assistant coach's chair, now you're the lead seat. And as my favorite historical figure in the history of this country, Harry Truman, would say, the buck stops here.
Right.
It's totally, you're not a guy who's making suggesting decisions. You're the maker of the decision. It takes a little while to get used to being a head coach at this level, but Dave's extremely bright, hardworking, and he knows our team better than any outside coach could know from being here the last 6 years, what makes all these particular players tick. And so I think he was a great choice, and he's going to do very well here.
Chris, what was it like? Obviously, you can't get into the particular details, but you're behind the scenes and a change is being made with a coach that led the organization to their best season ever. And then a little bit on that, and then how you feel the players have adapted to the change and have accepted the change.
Well, players are very moldable. They understand the transitory nature of professional sports. Unfortunately, you're here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, how many Kobe Bryants are out there that are with one organization, for well over a decade?
Right.
No, you move around. They know that the shelf life of a head coach in the NBA is probably well under 5 years in any particular organization. And that change, when I look at change, I go back to a gentleman who's made a big impact in my career that I worked for 2 years with the Miami Heat, Pat Riley, who's our president and head coach at the time. He says, when change rears its inevitable head, embrace it and run with it. And players realize that. So while they respect the work and value the relationship they may have with a coach who was the past head coach, in this case Lionel Hollins, they realize they have to move on and establish that type of relationship with a new head coach, Dave Yeager, and their careers are short, so they can't waste any time. And just go out and have the success that this franchise and these fan base has gotten used to in recent years.
These days, what's a typical day for you like?
Well, there's really no typical day because I have a couple radio shows I do. Once we get into the college season, while we're like where we are right now, it's not just going out and seeing games. I'm glued to the television set.
Evaluating talent.
Oh, yeah, because there are so many games now that are broadcast. Particularly this type of the year, as the networks get involved and are matchmakers for so many of these intersectional games.
Right.
There are quality games involving players we have to inventory, not just for this coming draft, 2014, but drafts to come, that I'm glued to the television set. Last night was a great example. That opening night doubleheader from Chicago with the Kentucky Michigan State game and then Kansas Duke. I mean, that was about as good as it gets. That was a mini Final Four with the quality of players, the programs, the pedigree, the coaches are all Hall of Fame bound, and it was a virtual who's who in the audience. There's Magic Johnson at half court with his Michigan State shirt. There's a box of Luol Deng and Kurt Heinrich watching their teams. Grant Hill, Danny Ainge. There's just so many luminaries from the NBA and guys who've been former college stars. It was a fantastic environment.
And so many of those players who will be playing soon in the association.
And we've got our own type of matchup, obviously, that we're going to be watching very closely next week when the Tigers go out to Stillwater, Oklahoma.
That's right,
and
Oklahoma
play
State.
Oklahoma State, and that'll be the big game of that particular night throughout the country as well.
The dynamic between you and Jason, how does that work? Obviously, he's the CEO, and he's answering to Robert Pera. You have always called the shots with the Grizzlies with Michael Heisley. Now you have to, I would guess, answer to Jason, but it's still a team effort. So can you talk a little bit about the dynamics behind the scenes?
I've been through 4 ownership changes, so I have quite a great deal of experience in this, going back to the 80s. I was with the Portland Trailblazers before Paul Allen owned the team.
Right.
And was there when that particular change came through. Jason's someone who I've known for a long time because he was very prominent on the agent side of the business for a number of years before he went to the NBA with Sacramento.
You dealt with him as an agent.
Oh, yeah, it's a very small world at the NBA between the agents and the front office personnel. And he's someone that's very receptive to input from a wide variety of sources, and a guy who has experience not only on the basketball side, but in building a business from the ground up, like he did with his agency. He was involved in putting the Philadelphia 76ers ownership group together when Josh Harris bought that team a few years ago before putting this Memphis group together. So he's someone with a tremendous and versatile skill set and experience in this game, and someone who's going to do very well here with the new Pera regime and for many years to come.
Well, you have a good relationship, but you're used to calling the shots. You called the shots for a long time, and you're also a team player.
I will say this with calling the shots in the NBA. There are very few czars that have total control of an organization these days.
It's usually a lot of voices.
Well, there's a number of voices. The owners are very actively involved in virtually every team. And so there's nobody out there that can just do whatever he wants, carte blanche, and then basically tell the owner, oh, by the way, just pick the paper up tomorrow and you'll read about our recent transaction. The ownership is very involved. at every step along the way, because there's obviously enormous financial ramifications in many of the transactions you do. And so, again, every team is way more collaborative than what it looks like from the outside.
So there's a situation, you may get the call and start a ball rolling on a possible trade, or if you're looking at free agents, the buck could start with, the buck doesn't stop necessarily with you, but it could start with anyone.
I mean, again, when Michael Heisley owned the team, he was involved. You know, Lionel Hollins and his coaching staff were apprised of what we were doing, the other members of the front office. So it's a collaborative process now. It was a collaborative process then, and it's basically similar at the other 29 NBA teams.
Chris, if things arise down the road, how do you tackle something like that? A prominent offer from another team?
Talking about for me personally?
Yes.
Well, I love it. Love being here in Memphis. This place has been by far the best stop that my family and I have made all across the board, both professionally and personally. As I like to say, the best people that I've ever met in any city that I lived are here in Memphis. This is just such a warm, welcoming town. It's a great basketball city. We love living here, and hopefully are able to stay here for quite some time. But I've been in this business since 1986. I've been with 7 teams. I guess you could say I probably can't hold a job. And I know that the likely path for the rest of my career is like most people in this league. There's a good chance you might move around. I mean, you'd love to stay in one place forever, but in the world of professional sports, that's an anomaly, the exception rather than the rule.
What is your best move, in your opinion, that you've made in Memphis?
Our best
Personnel.
Our best move, well, was the Pau Gasol trade.
Right.
Because without Pau Gasol's leaving and his salary going to Los Angeles and the cap room it created, we wouldn't have been able to bring in Zach Randolph. So this deal wasn't just a one-for-one player transaction. There was a ripple effect over a number of years. At one time, 9 members of our roster you could trace to either the draft picks we picked up from the Pau Gasol trade, the cap room, his brother, us picking up his draft rights. So that trade, while in the short term we were criticized in an extreme way, both inside the NBA and out in the media, it gave new life to our team.
Well, it was
we were stale at the time. Pau's spirit had been doused for being here.
Right.
And it was a deal that helped both teams. Now, some people were upset because it really helped the Lakers. I don't think they would have won the 2 championships without Pau coming in teaming with Kobe Bryant. But that's not our concern. Our concern is doing what's best for the Memphis Grizzlies. And we looked around the landscape of the NBA and didn't feel there was another team that can match this deal, particularly as it's been proven out. Nobody had a Marc Gasol sitting there on their sheet who they own the draft rights to.
Again, short term, ridiculed, long term, look who's laughing now. It worked out fantastically for the Grizzlies. All right, we know you're a huge college football fan. And you go to college football events, you go to college football games, you root for West Virginia. National championship, though, is it going to be anything but Bama, FSU?
I think it'll be Alabama, Florida State.
Right.
And that is going to be a West Virginia theme game as well, because Nick Saban is from Marion County, West Virginia, a couple counties over from my home county of Upshur. And then Jimbo Fisher, the head coach of Florida State, is even closer, Harrison County, just 2 counties over from ours. And I followed Nick Saban's high school career when he was a state champion quarterback with Monongah High School. I remember Jimbo Fisher at Liberty High School, and he also was signed for a local school, Salem College, and it went out of business. It was bought by a Japanese company, and they discontinued the football program, and that enabled him to go to Samford with Terry Bowden. And got that whole relationship going with him in Southern football and the Bowdens. And so the state of West Virginia, particularly in the north central part where I'm from, will just be up for grabs during the whole build-up for that game to have 2 native sons.
Absolutely. It's amazing what it's produced, too. That state, Western Pennsylvania, with players, with coaches, with just football people. It's terrific. All right, real quick answer to these 2 questions. Your favorite stadium you've ever been to for a game, and the one stadium you want to go to.
You talking about football or?
Football. This is football.
For football, it would be Tiger Stadium.
Tiger Stadium, LSU. Baton Rouge, you've been to.
Now, I've not been to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, but the stadiums I've been to, the stadium I'd love to go to that I've not had the pleasure to go to would be the Rose Bowl out in Pasadena.
Okay, I've been out there. Have you ever been to Notre Dame?
No, I haven't.
That's another one that would be high on my list. Chris, we'd like to end all our interviews with something we call 5 for the road. Quick questions, need quick answers to these 5 questions. What is your favorite professional sports franchise? You can't say the Grizzlies.
My favorite professional sports franchise would be the Pittsburgh Pirates. They were the first professional sports team that I went to a game. Back as a youngster with my father, I went to a World Series game in 1971, maybe the last day World Series game in the World Series.
Great Roberto Clemente.
My favorite players would be Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay. Favorite pro athlete?
Would be Roberto Clemente.
Okay. Favorite music or musician or maybe genre of music?
It's classic R&B. It'd be Frankie Beverly and Mays.
Classic R&B. Love the classic R&B. All right. Favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie is very obscure. It was in early 80s, a French movie called Diva, about this opera singer and this young motorcycle messenger who was obsessed with her.
What?
I love foreign movies, yeah.
So was there any famous
star
in there?
No. Go look it up on the websites.
Diva.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Okay. Favorite television show of all time?
Favorite television show of all time would probably be Leave It to Beaver. When I was a kid growing up, I loved Leave It to Beaver. In fact, to this day, I'll look at a guy and say, you know, he's a modern day Eddie Haskell, or he's a modern day Lumpy Rutherford, all right?
I use that term as well, Eddie Haskell. How about today, real quick? What do you watch today that you like, besides sports?
I love CBS Sunday Morning, Charlie Rose. I love this show that's not on now. It was on HBO. It was fantastic, called Treme, about New Orleans.
Loved
I'm a big New Orleans fan.
I'll give you a little secret here. There's going to be some more episodes in early December. Really? On HBO. I just saw the announcement. There's going to be a few more. They're going to wrap up the show.
While you're speaking of television, any fan of college football in the Alabama Crimson Tide has to watch this episode that's airing this month of 60 Minutes Sports, which features their strength coach.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable. You've got to see this show.
He's
Greg,
absolutely
I enjoyed
crazy.
it. Go
Chris,
Maryland.
always. Thank you so much. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with our overtime segment right after this. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the word cricket? Pest? Cell phone? How about sport? In fact, the sport of cricket is growing in the United States, and Memphis is part of that growth. The Memphis Cricket Club is one of several teams from the Mid-South that gather most Saturdays in the summer and fall to play a sport that originated in England in 1877 and is the most widely watched and played sport in India. And there is a connection to America, as the sport of baseball has its origins in the game of cricket. Darshan Samput is one of the top players for the Memphis Cricket Club. Darshan was born in India, but has lived in the United States for the past 11 years. And recently, he let us tag along for a match. Well, tell me a little bit about cricket here. I know you're enjoying yourself on a Saturday morning. A lot of guys playing the sport. What is it all about?
It's all about fun, and it's all about passion. I mean, I've played this game since I was like 5-year-old, and still I can play it. That's a great thing, as I was explaining you. It's a wonderful, wonderful sport. I mean, there are about 7 teams here in Memphis which play this sport, and we're all excited to come in the weekend and have some fun.
I know baseball, America's pastime, was created from cricket. Of course, it varies, and obviously the rules are different and the game is different, but the concept really came from the sport of cricket, which was created well before baseball.
Absolutely. I think this has its roots in the 1700s. So in 1800, the first game was played. I think 1857, if I remember correctly. First official test match was played. So I think it's an old sport. And I mean, I have played it for 30 years. My team here, every member here has played it for a long, long time. And we just enjoy it.
Most people look at cricket and they think of England and India and Pakistan and Australia, but here in America it hasn't taken off. Do you think if more Americans were aware of the sport that they would enjoy it and want to participate?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think now what the the ICC, the International Cricket Council, is doing is it's making it more like a three-hour game, because I think the span, it has been researched that it's a shorter version of the game and the limited attention span. So it's a shorter version of the game which we are hoping. I mean that here in the United States it gets its roots. I mean there's a lot of cricket played in New York, California, Dallas. I think it's getting there, but it's slow. I mean, we have young cricketers here. There's an 80-year-old who plays on one of the teams, and he has been representing the under-15 USA team. So I mean, there is opportunity. It's a slow process, because I think I think it needs more and more like this awareness which has been spread. I mean, more and more of this to happen, and I think there's going to be a big push at some point.
This league you're involved in, you have the summer schedule, you have the fall schedule, which we're in right now, but you also have teams not only in Memphis but also in Arkansas that you compete against.
Yeah, so we have a 2-state league. It's a Tennessee and an Arkansas, 2 state leagues, and I think we have, like you said, we have a summer league which goes on, which is a longer version of the game, which is like 6 hours, which is a 30-over game, and then we have a shorter version of the game, which is like 20 overs, and it goes on for like 3 hours, and it's like NFL. I was explaining you, the champion from Tennessee and the champion from Arkansas, they're going to butt heads in the Super Bowl, which is going to happen probably sometime in November.
All right, for those who want to know a little bit more about watching our interview here, and I know there's a lot of different rules and we don't have the time to go into every little thing.
Sure.
Just the general concept of what's going on behind us. What is cricket?
So basically, it's pretty similar. It's a bat and ball sport. I mean, you see there are 2 wickets on both the sides. A bowler, which is what's called a pitcher to equate in baseball, he comes and he bowls from there. There's a batsman, and the job of the batsman is to score runs. The job of the bowler is to take wickets. So how it works is, it's a little bit different from baseball in the sense that in cricket, an entire inning, an entire batting order comes from one team. They score as much as runs they want, and then the second team comes and they score how much ever runs. They have to actually score 1 run more than the previous batter, and then they win the game. So it's a little bit different from baseball in the sense there are no 9 innings and you don't come and bat again and again. It's just one shot.
What type of shape do you have to be in? Is it something where you're going to do a lot of running? Do you have
Absolutely.
to? I mean, you're obviously in great shape, and these players are as well. So is this something that's very strenuous?
Absolutely, I think it is, and you have to stay fit. I mean, we have had players on our team who are like 50 years old, but they have stayed in shape. And I think now where cricket is going, it's become an athletic sport. I mean, before I think there used to be like you could get away with it, but now you have to be super fit. I mean, it's like because I think you're competing with 16, 17, 18-year-old, at least at international level, and you have to give it your all. I mean, it's work. I mean, it's work, it's drills, it's warm-ups, it's stretching, it's in the week preparation. I mean, the water you take in, the food you eat. So before important games, I mean, I'm very prone to cramps.
Right.
So
right.
2 days before, I think I will stop eating like some oily stuff, which is a lot in Indian diet. I mean, there's a lot of preparation goes on in. And
but it's still very fun for you, and the camaraderie you get with all your buddies out here,
absolutely.
right?
And I think it's a day to hang out with the friends, with all the kids. I mean, the whole week we are with the kids and all. I mean, we come here in the weekend, and it's just amazing fun.
There's no right now infrastructure for youngsters because there's no young leagues of cricket and all that. But that's something you'd like to see change. And then also, I know that women are starting to play cricket as well, right?
Yes, I think over the world, yes. I think last year there was the Women's World Cup. So there's a lot of women playing cricket now. I mean, obviously, like you said, here in Memphis, there is little less infrastructure. But like I was just mentioning, New York, they have good infrastructure for kids to play. And my son loves cricket. I play with him all the time. But I think he loves baseball too now, because I think there's a lot of baseball leagues here.
Because he's here in the
States. And this is what I'm hoping, that I think at some point if I move back, then I think since he has the hand-and-eye coordination with baseball, like we are saying, it's the same sport. I mean, he can go back and pick up cricket at some point. So I mean, it's exciting because it's so similar to baseball that it's easy to catch on. I mean, anybody here who wants to play, we'll be more than happy to have him in our team and help him out.
You were born in India.
Yes,
you lived in Dallas and you came to Memphis. How many years ago now? 11 years ago?
I've been here 11 years.
11 years. In India, what was it like watching cricket as a kid? And here you'll look at a kid. He may have a poster of an NFL player or a Major League Baseball player on his wall. Did you have a poster of a cricket player?
Absolutely. So how you said that there would be a poster of an NFL player or a baseball player, in India there is only posters of cricket players. It's like a religion in India. I mean, and all the players who play for the teams, they're like superheroes and they're like gods. So I've had, like I was just mentioning to you, one of the greatest player ever has retired like a day back, and I have been 24 years he played.
Wow,
24 straight years of cricket, and I've seen and I've grown up watching him. So when he left yesterday, I'm like, okay, that's it for me. Cricket is done for me. My legend has gone. I mean it's crazy. He's made a big impact to cricket.
Sounds a lot like the great Hank Aaron, who played about 24 years in Major League Baseball. All right, final seconds. Tell everybody out there, they're watching cricket right now, give me the sale pitch on why they should try this sport.
It's one of the best things about cricket is it's fun. We are all passionate about it, and I think if you come over, we'll show you why we are passionate about it. you stay fit. I mean, you put in a lot of time and effort and energy. It's a lot of strategy, so you're going to use your brain playing cricket. I mean, and for us, it's just fun. I mean, come along and we'll help you out and enjoy with us.
Good job selling the sport. Great
No
to have
problem.
you on.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Greg.
And for any of you interested in the sport of cricket, contact us here at Sports Files, and we'll make sure we get you in touch with the club. The Memphis Tigers Hoop Squad is in the midst of playing their season opener tonight against Austin Peay. And as I speak, I'm actually also on the call for that game on Fox Sports South. Strange days indeed. Next week, former Tiger star Andre Turner will join me to talk Tigers and Grizzlies and all things round ball. Also, congrats to Tigers senior guard Joe Jackson for being named to the preseason John Wooden Award list, which honors the nation's top player. And that'll do it for now. You can see any of our previous shows by simply going to our website, WKNO.org, and clicking on KNO Tonight. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.